So the news right after Georgia's Peach Bowl win that Azeez Ojulari will be headed to the NFL. This is news that everyone expected, and I think it's really good news for Azeez. And he's a guy that is hard not to like, a big-time worker all the time for the Dogs, and a great kid that I've dealt with. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. What is the NFL going to get? A guy who has really worked on dealing with the run, but he is a pass rusher, one of the best that Georgia's seen in this last decade. You got Leonard Floyd, Jarvis Jones. Those two guys come to mind, and then Azeez. I mean, Azeez is a specialist. You just want to bring him in on third downs, you can do that, but that's what's going to make him money. That in the NFL, it's about quarterbacks, and the thing that affects quarterbacks the most is a pass rush. That's what Azeez is going to deal with, and I think that over time, we will see how well he develops. I guess if you want to call it that in the league, but I mean, it's a guy that definitely could sneak his way into the first round. I don't see him being a top 15 guy. Maybe I'm wrong there, but this league has legitimate freaks at tackle and at D end. And when you watch this ballet of big men, guys who could go out and jump rope, no problem. Guys who probably could play tennis a little bit, stuff like that. Guys who are not just big sort of meatheads. Azeez still stood out. He was a guy that you needed to account for if you were planning on having a safe quarterback back there. Sacks end ball games. And what I mean by that is a sack ends a drive almost all of the time. It's hard to recover from that. And that's about 8% of your game. And when you lose 8% of your productivity potential, you're really chopping down on your ability to win games. I mean, 8% of the season is one loss. So think of it that way when you think about pass rushers. Why are tackles so important? Why are edge rushers so important? But Azeez is a guy that, from Marietta, when Matt DeBerry and I went down there to interview him in, spring of 17, I think it was. Azeez, quiet. But when you watched him play, that Marietta program's put out some real deal freaks, and he's one of them. Eric Gilbert's another. But Azeez was, we didn't know at the time he was going to Georgia. We were just doing our usual sort of house calls. And some of the coaches spoke about him in a way that, all high school coaches try to sort of sell how good their kids are, but you could really feel it from the coaches at Marietta. And for Azeez coming and playing, learning the sport, and then going on to Georgia, having to deal with an injury that sidelined him for the bulk of the 2018 season, you saw what he could do in that Sugar Bowl game. I mean, he flashed, and he'd never played before at Georgia. And then so all of a sudden, you have him in 19, and he's disruptive. And at 20, though, all you have to do is watch that Peach Bowl and say, hey, you just can't get in the third and long with this guy on the field. Leonard Floyd was different. He's longer. He's more plastic man, if you know what I mean. He can contort his body in ways. He's just very long too. But with Azeez, it's just like a tornado. Like it's quick, and he's there at the quarterback. And the game-ending sack for a safety, that was Azeez. The game-changing sack and then fumble against Cincinnati in the fourth quarter, that was Azeez. And so productivity matters. That was 2 sacks, okay? That's not 8% of your game. Now all of a sudden you're getting close to a fourth of your game at 16%. Give me some room on the math there. You're getting closer to a fifth of your series not mattering, like just taken away because Azeez is on the field. Now it's going to be tougher in the NFL. There's no question. But when you look at it, and guys who are really good in college, like Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, people like that, Baker Mayfield, I'm naming just guys I'm seeing on the screen right now, Azeez will be fine. He's not a guy maybe that you think, oh, immediately this guy's going to, but he might now. I mean, because he's playing a position where you get to know who the pass rushers are real quick in the NFL. And he will, though, have a real challenge on his hand getting around those NFL tackles. That's what it is. I mean, that's the league. But his speed, resiliency, ability to strike the ball out of the quarterback's hands, that's something that you really want in a pass rusher. And I think for whoever gets him, that's why he'll be so special and so missed at Georgia. I mean, he was the reason they won the Peach Bowl. Everybody else played well, but he scored points and he ended drives. And in some cases, he did both on the same exact play. That's hard to deal with. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. Thanks for watching. See the playlists up there. Make sure you go ahead and click them. We'll see you on the next video.